Hello everyone, good afternoon. Today I would be sharing with you my interactive slides that I created using Google Slides. And I would have two of my students demonstrate how to use the interactive board. If you notice, I have 6 boxes on one slide, and out of the 6 boxes, 3 are of the same color. So these sentences were pulled from my reading stories, and what the student needs to do is go ahead and create a complete sentence by maneuvering the boxes around. Okay, so I have Miss Shirley, who is student 1, and she's going to work on the first sentence on how to create a complete sentence. So go ahead, Miss Shirley. All right. It looks like Miss Shirley had worked on it. However, the internet may be slow, and this could cause a problem because the student may be done and you're not going to see it on your end. So go ahead and give it a few more minutes. And while we wait for that, we can go ahead and have the next student work on the next set of sentences. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Arnold. You can work on sentence number 2. Here, I can see it, but
I can see him moving, but yours not.
I wonder.
There's no refresh
Oh, there,
button?
there. Okay, it looks like Mr. Daniel is done. So again, if you noticed earlier, it looked like my student for the first set of sentence did not show that she was done, and it is from the internet connection. So please just keep in mind, once that happens, just give it a few minutes and you can see the changes in a few minutes. That's why now you're able to see it. So what Mr. Arnold did was he went ahead and completed the sentences. All right, let's read sentence 1. It says, one night, Daniel was sleeping in bed. Miss Shirley had arranged these sentences based on looking at the capital letter, which is O, and she was able to identify that this box will go first. If you look at the second box, there is another capital letter. However, this is a name of a person, so she was able to verify that this was the second box. If you look at the last box, she did look at the period, which would indicate that this box will belong at the end of the sentence. She did very well. Good job, Miss Shirley. For our next set, we're going to see what Mr. Arnold worked on, and let's read the sentence. It says, Daniel was dreaming of dinosaurs as usual. So if you notice, there's a capital letter here at the beginning with the name Daniel. But of course, because it's a name of a person, the letter would have to be capitalized. If you look at the end of the sentence, which is the last box, there's a period, and Mr. Arnold was able to identify that this box belongs at the end. Okay, let's try the next set. Let's see how our students will do on this set. All right, go ahead, Miss Shirley. You can work on the first set. Awesome job, Miss Shirley. Good job. Next, go ahead, Mr. Arnold. You can work on the second set. You're doing such a great job, Mr. Arnold. Go ahead and put your boxes up a little bit more. Great job. So if you notice, there's two different colors, only because, again, we don't want to confuse the students as they're creating their sentence. They would already distinguish that the green boxes go together and the pink boxes will go together as well. So let's go ahead and read the first set. It says, Daniel loves dinosaurs. Miss Shirley created it by looking at the capital letter, which is here, so she was able to indicate that this box will go first. For the last sentence, or the last box, she was able to look at the period and identify it as well, that this box will go at the end. Good job, Miss Shirley. Next, for the next set, Mr. Arnold worked on his sentence, and the sentence reads, Suddenly a dinosaur was chasing Daniel. So if you look again at the beginning of the sentence, it has a capital letter, which is the capital letter S. And if you look at the last box, it has a period, which identifies that this box belongs at the end. But here's a tricky problem that the students may be confused. If you look at the name Daniel, it has a capital letter, but this box will go at the end. Again, it's a name of a person, therefore this box is appropriately placed. Okay, good job, Mr. Arnold. Let's go back to, or let's go to the next set, and Miss Shirley will go ahead and work on the purple, which is the first set. Awesome, great job. Go ahead, Mr. Arnold, you're next. Awesome, great job. Let's go ahead and read the sentences that they built. And let's look at the first box. Miss Shirley worked on the purple set, and it reads, He ran faster and faster, period. So if you look at the first box, she was able to see the capital letter for he, and she was able to identify that this box went on the beginning of the sentence. And if you look at the last box that she has, there's a period on it, and that would indicate that that would be that this box will go at the end of her sentence. Good job, Miss Shirley. You did an awesome job. So let's look at the second set. Mr. Arnold worked on the orange boxes, and he was able to identify that the capital H, which is he, belongs at the beginning. And he looked at the period, and he was able to identify that this box goes at the end. He did such a great job. They both actually did. These color codings really work well with students. If you notice also, my slides are very plain. I didn't want to put so much on it to distract the student. So this is a very plain and simple interactive board. I also observe that this helps the student have a better understanding as they create their sentences. So you can go ahead and create your words, changing it to a different font that you may like. You can also have the font larger if you like. Again, we're looking at the student's needs. So you can change the format of this if you like. You don't need to use these borders, these rectangle borders, but I used it because the student will identify that it is a sentence strip, and it's just based on preference. But I hope that you enjoyed my interactive slide, and I hope that this would be helpful to your students that may be working on this skill. The next activity or skill I would like to work on is using the Jamboard. And we'll be working on sentences, okay? So it's going to be a writing skill. So what I did is that I invited the students onto the Jamboard, and what they're going to do is they're going to work on their fine motor skills using the Jamboard. So the sentence that they created, they're going to go ahead and write it on the Jamboard, and we're going to take turns, okay? So first Miss Shirley will go and she will write her sentence, and she can put number 1 and then write her sentence. And then Mr. Arnold will be number 2 and then write his sentence. Please don't forget your capital letters and your period. If you notice here on this Jamboard, the student is able to work on their fine motor, but also able to also work on building their sentence. And it looks like Miss Shirley's almost done. She did such an awesome job. While they're working on it, by using this Jamboard, I can go ahead and put a check mark, right? And show that they're doing a great job, and that the students will know that they're on the right track. With this Jamboard also, we can put up motivational words or phrases at the end so that the student is able to see it, and it would have the student continue to do their work. It looks like Mr. Arnold is almost done. He's doing such a great job. He was also able to number it just like Miss Shirley. So let's write Mr. Arnold a note. And if you notice, Miss Shirley was able to respond back with a thank you. So Jamboard is pretty much very interactive. Wow, awesome job, Mr. Arnold. Let's go ahead and finish and work on number 3 and 4. Let's see if Mr. Arnold would like to write back based on my comments. So Jamboard is really good to work with. They're able to provide immediate feedback, and if the student is able to work on it in regards to responding, they can do that as well. And again, it's immediate. So go ahead and work on number 2 and 3. And also on Jamboard, they're able to add some pictures on. If you notice, Mr. Arnold put in a comment, he put down thank you. Miss Shirley here was able to write a sticky note thank you, and you can also have it in color. So they can also erase what they worked on, and they can work on the same problem, on the next problem, or they can just go ahead and write it down on the bottom. Oh wow, look at this. This is beautiful. So this is another art or another visual that you can put on the Jamboard as the students are working on their assignments, and this really helps with their motivation. So great job, Miss Shirley. I like these hearts. So let's go ahead and work on number 3 and 4 if we continue with the sentences. You can keep these notes on here. This is also could be a sample, a student sample that you can keep. And how you can do that is you click up here on the 3 dotted line on the upper right hand corner, and we can download as PDF, and you can save it onto your computer, and you can use this for your, again, for student samples. So go ahead, Miss Shirley, you can go ahead and erase your work, and let's do 3 and 4. Wow, that was awesome. Go ahead, you can do 3 and 4. Go ahead, Mr. Arnold, you can do 4, and Miss Shirley can do number 3. If you notice, the student made a mistake and he went ahead and erased it. There's so many features on this Jamboard. The students will really love to work on it. But what I really like is the immediate feedback and the continued conversation that you can have with your students. So here it looks like Miss Shirley is done, and I'm just going to put a little note here. And I'm going to put way to go. Wow, love this dinosaur. So if you notice here with this dinosaur, what you would need to do if you're gonna use this kind of clip art is that you would have to go online. So here at Jamboard, if you notice, the student is doing very well as he's working on his sentences, but also we need to let them know that they need to do a spacing in between. So we can just let the student know that this may need to be moved down, and again this would be immediate, right? Awesome. So if you notice number 3 and 4 sentence, we were able to, I was able to provide a feedback to the student. Then the student responded by putting a dinosaur in. And with the second one, for number 4, I put down nice try. And let's see what the student is able to respond with. And again, with this one, this requires internet service. And if it doesn't come on quickly, again, just wait a few moments. If you notice here, we have a note, good job, Arnold, from Shirley, and the interaction is there. So again, what we want to do is, if we want to save this for a student sample, what we do is click up here, and we can go ahead and click on download as a PDF. And once it downloads, we're going to open it up. And if you notice, here it is. Here is the PDF form. What we can do is we can download it into our computer, and we're going to put language, or language, and then we can say sentence writing. And we can also put today's date, which is the 13th. And we can save it onto our desktop. And once we come to a meeting, then we can share this. But I would caution you that if you're going to use this work sample, then what we'll do is we'll have individual work, because once you have students' names on it, then it may get a little bit sensitive. So this is a sample of what I do when I'm using my interactive board. I don't only use it for writing or for one subject area. I do work on math. So I'm going to show you a sample for my math. Okay, let me share it with you. And this is another interactive board that I created using my math. And we're gonna I'm going to share it again with my students. And I'm going to send them that link, and they'll be joining me in a few minutes for math. And so for this section, this is an interactive board. I'm also using Google Slides. I went ahead and put in the boxes so that the students know that when they add 6 plus 5, then that belongs in that column. So we're going to have the first student work on it, and she's going to do the first box as we wait for Mr. Arnold to come on. So go ahead, Miss Shirley. Please don't forget to show your work. And also you can make the boxes a little bigger so that the student is able to go ahead, Mr. Arnold. You can work on the problem, the first problem, and Miss Shirley can work on the second one. Don't forget to show your work, okay? Please show how you got that one. So what they would need to do is go ahead and click on the box, and they would write their number 1 to show their sticks. And same for Mr. Arnold. He would show 6 sticks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that would indicate so if they're carrying over, what they need to do is carry over. If you notice, Mr. Arnold went ahead and put the parentheses. That's fine. For the students, they can just go ahead and give themselves a space, and that would indicate that that 91 may not belong there. Okay, so that's good how they did it. So this is an interactive board for math, and when they carry over, okay, awesome job. Okay, next I'm going to show you how to use the Jamboard using math. So I'm going to click onto the Jamboard, and we're going to do some math problems there. So we're going to go ahead and clear the frame, and we're going to write out the problem, and we're going to start doing it. So here's the first problem. Go ahead and write the problem, Miss Shirley. On the Jamboard. Mr. Arnold, you can go ahead and write your problem. And it could be on half of the page. So Miss Shirley, you can go first, and Mr. Arnold would go on the second part of the page. So with this Jamboard, as they work on their math skills, you can also work on their fine motor. And they can show you how they got their answer by putting the sticks, showing it. Awesome job. So we're going to just write words of encouragement. Okay, and then Mr. Arnold will go ahead and write the next math problem. Great job. Mr. Arnold, can you just show how you got your assignment? Wow, that's a beautiful clip art there. And again, for your math, if you make a mistake, you can go ahead and use the eraser to erase it. And when you're using this Jamboard, you don't need to invite multiple, but because we're doing an activity, I did invite 2 students at the same time. So if you're wanting to look for work samples, you can use this, and this is a great way to interact with your students. Awesome job. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and send Mr. Arnold a note. Okay, and he saw the assignment here, saw the message, and they're both done. So we're going to go ahead and put a check mark that Mr. Arnold knows that he is on the right track. So what we want to do is go ahead again, go up to the 3 circle on the upper right hand corner, and what we're going to do is we're going to download it as a PDF. And once we downloaded it, we're going to open it up, and again we're going to download it onto our hard drive, and we're going to put math activity, and then that has today's date. Okay, and I can use this for a work sample if they don't have any other student's name, and if it belongs only to 1 student. I hope that you enjoyed my 2 interactive slides, or my 2 interactive applications that I'm working with my students, and I hope that this was helpful. Thank you very much and have a good day.